Legends EA comes out in less than 10 days, and I still have a long way to go in this playthrough. But did that stop me from trying this inverse battle? No, it did not. Should it have? Probably. I figured with close to 20 years of experience playing Pokemon, it shouldn't be that hard to figure it out, right? Turns out it was pretty stinking hard. Ice types and grass types are pretty goated in this, and it took me way too long to figure out the type matchups. But eventually I did manage to pull out a win, after I lost half my team. But I would absolutely do it again. It was a ton of fun, and such a different experience. In Corway Town, I ran into Sycamore. I can finally take back being suspicious of him. You should really pick your friends better, and I'm pretty sure I didn't save him. I think it's great you try to see the best in him, though. What do you mean you never talked to him about it? Communication! Well, after that, I had to go clear my head, and I found a guy who was weirdly gray. Bud, you need to go to a doctor. Like, seriously, see a doctor. With my son still asleep and making good time, my hopes were crushed when Shauna decided she wanted to have a Pokemon battle. I think I only fought her once before this, so I really didn't know what to expect. So imagine my surprise when she hit me with a super effective play rough. Looking at Delcatty, I probably should have expected it. Thankfully, Mjolnir had Iron Head, so I was easily able to take her out. Next came Hergoodra, which hit really hard. Like, I know it's a pseudo-legendary, but still. She left Mjolnir with only 2 HP. I was able to take her out with a couple Iron Heads, though. Next came Delphox, so I had to swap back to Naruto, who already had some damage done. Mystical Fire didn't do much, but Naruto seems to be physically incapable of hitting more than 2 Water Shuriken. Her Calm Mind wasn't very scary because it only took 2 more hits of Water Shuriken to take her out. Now I can move on, right? Or I guess I can fight Tierno and Trevor. First up is Tierno. I actually had a pretty good lead in him this time. I started with Naruto, who was a little hurt, and once again, he refused to hit more than 2 Water Shuriken, so I ended up having to switch to Titan. Swords Dance was pretty scary, but Titan's pretty tough and 1 crunch took him out. With Roserade out next, I had to switch to Talon. Roserade couldn't do much to me, and Talon was able to take him out with just 2 flame charges. Finally was Crawdaunt. I don't remember Crawdaunt being a particularly difficult Pokemon, so I just swapped to Poe, and I got hit really hard. Poe's electric type hidden power did not do anywhere near as much as I was hoping, and Crawdaunt ended up taking him out. Thankfully, I still had Tinkerbell, who was able to take the victory. Last up is Trevor. For some reason, I thought he would be the easiest. He led with his Raichu, so I had immediately switched to Titan. He got hit with a weak Nuzzle, but it did leave him paralyzed. Thunderbolts didn't do much, and Earthquake easily took out the Raichu. Next came his own Florges, so I swapped to Mjolnir, who got hit by a Moonblast. Then Florges just wasted time setting up Misty Terrain, while Mjolnir took him out with an Iron Head. Finally came Aerodactyl, and 1 more Iron Head took care of him too. Right as my son woke up hysterical. Thankfully, I was right about Trevor being pretty easy. This is also the point where I realized Mjolnir really should have evolved by now. A quick Google told me I needed a Dusk Stone, which I could find back in Terminus Cave. So as soon as I got my son back to sleep, I doubled back to get the stone, and was finally able to evolve Mjolnir into an Aegislash. I've never used an Aegislash, so I'm really excited for this, and I have no idea how the whole stance change thing works, so I'm looking forward to figuring that out. I also managed to find a TM for Shadow Ball. I'm hoping that comes in handy too. Now I have a powered up team, and I'm at the final gym. Back on track. What do you mean he's not here? Winding Woods? Where's that? First let's check this way. I've never been to Route 21 before, so that's a good sign. I avoided all of the trainers because I was really close to over-leveling for the gym. But then I found myself in front of the league. This feels wrong. Let's keep going, maybe it's some kind of trick. Route 22 doesn't look familiar either. I did run into a trainer. Why does she have a Bunnelby? Why is it only level 8? This is definitely not the right way. Back to Snowbell City. I must have missed something. Is it over here? Is there a path I'm missing somewhere? Let's check the map. No, I don't see anything here that says Winding Wood. Is it a path behind the gym? No. Oh, look, an item. Oh, look, a path. There's a path that goes south. And that looks like a wood. Yep, that's the wood. Great. We'll just ignore all that other stuff happened. I quickly found my way through the woods, relatively straightforward, and found Wulfric, hanging out in the Pokemon village. He goes on to tell me that most of the Pokemon here have escaped from abusive owners. The more I get to know this guy and the more I talk to him, the more I like him. He seems really sweet. Anyways, he finally heads back to the gym. I take a brief moment to look around the village. Do I have time for this? No, but I do it anyways. And I'm glad I did, because I found a cave that appears to be part of the postgame. That is something I do want to explore before Legends ZA comes out. We'll see if I have time though. I finally make my way back to the gym. The trainers there are relatively easy. The gym puzzle, on the other hand, turns out really hard if you've only had 2 hours of sleep. I know I have to speed up this footage a lot, and it makes for a pretty long chunk, but I figured it's worth keeping just to show how important sleep is. I mean, this is just sad. My only excuse is that my son is teething. Finally, I make my way through, and I'm ready to take on Wulfric. I'm bringing Poe, Mjolnir, and Talon to this battle. And being an Ice-type leader, I'm kind of expecting him to be a bit of a pushover. He even says he could be a pushover. And that belly slap, absolutely fantastic. He leads Abomasnow, and I lead Talon. One flame charge takes him out. So far, exactly how I expected. Next he sends out Cryogonal. Another flame charge takes it out. Yep, feels about right. Even the hail chip's not bothering me. Next is Avalog, a flame charge. That did nothing. And he uses Curse. And has Ice Body. The crit is nice. It gave me a little bit of encouragement, but he just kept using Curse. My flame charges were doing less and less every time. This is going to be a really long battle, if I can even make my way out of it. Once he gets down to a certain level, he's going to heal. I just keep firing off flame charges. Finally, he opts to go for Avalanche instead of Curse. It does trigger Flame Body, which is nice, but I couldn't for the life of me remember if he used a Hyper Potion or a full restore. Thankfully, it was a Hyper Potion, so the burn stays. I just start whittling away with him with Poe, knowing I really need a crit, or I need to try to last until burn damage can take him out. It ends up being the latter. I don't care. A win is a win. Definitely not the most graceful victory, but I'll take it. And now I'm back on schedule. That's the last batch. Next up is the League. Maybe I can actually make it before ZA comes out. I've never watched the anime, but I'm gonna guess Wulfric is a dad, just based on all of the encouragement that he gives me here and tells me to just go for it. Absolutely love it. Also love the fact that I get to slide down this thing to get out of the gym. And actually, as I was on my way out of the gym, my son started to cry again. Absolutely perfect timing. This video was a little less creative than my last couple videos, still super fun to do, but I was just worried about trying to get this done in time. I'd love to hear what you think, so please consider leaving a comment below, and if you're liking the series, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss what happens next.